Back again. Thanks for checking out the channel. My name is Josh, and we are here today to review, as it turns out, a highly anticipated movie for me, and one that I am very happy to say I was not let down by. And that is, of course, if you click the title, you know the thumbnail, this is Prey. This is the next Predator movie in the Predator series. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I mean, there's like 5 actual Predator movies and then a couple AVPs. So as we start to talk about Prey, what I'm going to do is try and keep this as spoiler-free as possible. I mean, if you've seen the trailer, you've seen most of the movie, which is kind of, again, what happens with trailers nowadays. But I will definitely leave anything that I think will be a spoiler towards the end and let you guys know when that time will pass. So as we get into Prey, a little bit about the production of it, I guess, and the fact that I honestly, for a long time, didn't know it was coming out, and then I kind of heard about it, and I heard little rumblings of what the story was actually going to be, and it was going to be one that was set back in time, which, if you're a fan of Predators at all, there's, outside of the movies, there's a lot of lore, well, in the movies too, but there's a lot of lore in actual comics, and then the book series and things like that, and video games that they've had. So, Predators have been in and out of contact with humans and a lot of other species as they try and find the best prey or predators to hunt for themselves. Anyway, this is one out of time, so this was in 300 years ago, I think they said, and a lot of the stuff initially I was like, oh, that sounds kind of cool, because I've seen a lot of the older things in some comics where they were fighting different types of humans throughout time, and I was like, man, that could be pretty cool. And they picked Native Americans to kind of fight with in this one, and it's in the Great Northern Plains, so I'm not exactly sure. Kind of look like the Rocky Mountains from the movie, so maybe, excuse me, maybe north, a little bit into Canada, Montana, all that stuff. But either way, really pretty. The film was shot really well, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, this one, I'm always excited for Predator movies when they come out because I'm just a huge Predator fan. I've only been let down a couple times when they had a combination movie. But I kind of started to doubt it more and more because I kind of heard the story, and the basics, the outline of the story was that a young female Comanche girl rises up to take on a predator from another planet, and I was like, yeah, that's cool, but in my head I'm always like, man, we've got like Arnold, and we've got all of these gigantic men with huge weapons and very advanced weapons, I might add, are struggling with the predators, and we're gonna have just like a small female be able to take on a predator. But it's years and years ago, and we'll see what happens. There's just been a lot of movies and shows and things that have been pushing a lot of social commentary and stuff, which again, you can do that very, very well in movies, and you can do it a little over the head and kind of beat you to death with it. And I kind of thought from the sound of it that that's what this was going to be. Then found out that it wasn't even going to be released in theaters. It was only going to be streaming on Hulu. And I was like, oh, crap. Then they put out a trailer, and I've been trying to stay away from trailers, but then I was like, I kind of got to do this. So I actually have been doing some trailer reactions on this channel. And seeing this little teaser trailer, I was like, I mean, it looks kind of cool. So I figured we'd give it a shot. And I'm happy to say I was not let down. This is definitely a really good Predator movie. The director, Dan Trachtenberg, however you say his last name. The only thing I'd really known him from previous to this was actually 10 Cloverfield Lane, which was the sequel to Cloverfield, which is a movie I love. 10 Cloverfield Lane was really, really good too. Much, much different than Cloverfield, the original one, but he is really good at building tension from his previous movies, and that carried over to this one as well. It looked really beautiful. It looked really cold, and it looked kind of harsh, like you were living in the land with him, and that had a lot to do, I think, with how he shot it, to where again, you're kind of on the level with the Indians as they're going through these different trials and hunting different things, and even with the predator, and from his points of view. So it was very interesting for it to be in that culture, and I think they did a really good job. All the actors and actresses that they have for this one, they used a lot of actual indigenous folk for this, and they did fantastic. Like, it was really good. I can't think of a lot of the names of the actors and actresses because they are, this may be some of their first movies, I don't know, but they're fantastic. I'll have to look those up a little bit later and see if there's anything else. But everybody did a really good job acting. They had really good different parts, different characters that came into play. Overall, it was really, really good. The Predator himself was freaking sweet. So they definitely it's not really spoilers, but they altered the look of the predator a little bit, which you can easily explain away by either some subspecies of the predators or just the timing. Again, 300 years is a lot different. Had a little different tools, a little different weapons, things like that. But in all be all, the predator scenes were definitely my favorite. Again, everything else looked good and the acting was good, but when you put the predator on screen, hunting shit and just messing people up, it's just fantastic. And this was a very good prime example of that. I think this honestly may have been the scariest like a predator has been, because it showed a lot more of the agility and the speed and how he's able to hunt down all of these predators and these top alpha animals from all over the universe, because he's a badass and pretty gnarly. So definitely really good predator stuff. Again, the story about how they went from, okay, I'm not going to spoil it yet, but again, the story of how the predator actually gets there and what's the point and what's happening, I thought it was really kind of interesting. It was really good. I think the biggest complaint that I probably had was actually the CGI on the animals. So a lot of the animals outside of the predator himself, I mean, there's bears, there's all kinds of wildlife, and you kind of get to view bits and pieces of the food chain, so to speak, and kind of how it operates, at least in the woods there. And the idea is really cool, and you get the concept, but the CGI looked kind of on a good bit of that stuff, especially like the wolf and like the bear. There's parts where you're just like, not as much. And a little bit of some of the action things, you could definitely tell that it was made for streaming, I guess. I guess that just depends on which platform, because I mean, Netflix and things spends a gajillion dollars on it. But I'm not going to blame the director or the movie itself on that. I would just say that the funding, it definitely, had they put a little bit more into it, it easily could have been a theater movie. Easily. I've seen way worse in theaters, but they could have upped the value of that a little bit just with the animal CGI. But most of the other things, like the character, the costumes, things like that, the different type of war paint that they utilized, I thought was really cool. Overall, it was just a really solid movie. Very good paced. It was, I think, 90 minutes or under, so bang, 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 just kind of going through. You get set up, you get situated, and then you rock and roll through a good action movie. That's pretty thrilling, pretty horrific in a lot of spots, and overall I would rate it pretty fantastic. I mean, I don't think I can, I gotta think about this a good bit, and I'll probably do a video specifically on Predator ranking as far as the movies go. I mean, I've got AVP and then AVP Requiem are at the bottom, clearly, but beyond that, it's going to be a little bit of a toss-up, so I'll have to think about this one, because this one's definitely, it's a very well-deserved Predator movie, and it's probably will climb up the ranks the more I watch it, and luckily since it's streaming I can go back and watch it again. So it'll definitely be up there. I'll say 7.5 out of 10, maybe 7, just because of the CGI. It kind of took me out of it just a little bit, but overall, really good movie. I recommend watching it. Hopefully a lot of people will watch it, so they'll know that there are people interested in seeing Predator movies. But I definitely would like more in this vein. It's really, really solid. Okay, so from here on, we are going to utilize this as now a spoiler. Spoilers. So you've been warned. Stop here if you haven't seen it yet. Go watch it. Come on back. Predator's freaking awesome. Okay, that dude just gnarls up folk. Hand over fist, or gauntlet in this case. But everything that he did and how they showed him kind of landing and then maybe observing and learning about the world and what was happening as far as the predators and who takes what and who kills what, and he just kind of keeps going, was really cool. They built up so much with, I thought what they did really well was they kind of had the predator match the technology or the weapons available of the person or thing that he was fighting. So again, if it's like the snake or if it's like the wolf, you know, they've got claws, so he'll utilize his gauntlet a little bit, the wrist gauntlet, or mostly punch things. The fight with the freaking bear was just awesome. It's the most interesting thing, because I was sitting there watching it, and I remember I literally sat up on my couch as they just got into a little bit of a tussle. And you know, it wasn't one where Predator was just kicking ass completely at any point. And one thing I appreciate about this whole movie, where there are plenty of scenes where the Predator's getting his ass handed to him a little bit, or you know, he's taking some damage, but you know, it does show him healing. It shows him, you know, using tactics to get away from that, his advanced technology to help with that. But when he's tussling with the bear and kind of goes down and gets back up and then just rocks him, I was like, Okay. I think I'm gonna like this one. So they went through that one. The violence is it's pretty high up there as far as Predator movies. Well, I mean, all Predator movies are relatively violent, but this one specifically, I just like how they use the violence. It wasn't seemingly like over the top, like it was actually there for a purpose, and it was really good. All the actors, again, like I previously said, were really good. The trappers that came in, the French Canadian ones, or French trappers, were awesome. You had to have literally an army of folks for this Predator to just destroy. So I appreciate that cannon fodder, so you could see how devastatingly badass this Predator is, and he was. But flawed, like I said. The different animals and the different trappers and the Indians, they were definitely able to injure him and take advantage of different situations that maybe he wasn't used to, which kind of seemed to be the trend. Like he would discover, the Predator would discover a new species, kind of see how it attacked, fight with it a bit, maybe get wounded, and then just take it to task. And that was kind of the way it kept going all the way through the movie, and it definitely just kept building and building, and like the scenes looked so good. Like they had, I believe it was probably a forest fire that was there that made the ash come in where you could see him and mess with his camouflage. There were just so many cool things. Again, visually it looked really good other than the animal CGI. And some of the Predator moving, as far as jumping side to side and stuff, it looked a little fake, but still I really enjoyed it. The scenes where like he's chasing them through the fields is horrifying, because you see how fast he can move. Like I was saying earlier, it really lets you know that these things are, you know, they travel the universe and they're badass. And just blendering people, just done. It was pretty spectacular. I was talking to my brother, who's going to be doing a review as well. I'll link you to his channel at the end of this one. And what I really did like, I think, is that you really could walk into this movie not having seen any of the other Predator movies and understand what's going on and have a good time, I would think, because again, they do a very good semi-organic way, in my opinion, of kind of explaining what's happening, kind of the rules of what's going on with the Predator, you know, kind of how he visually does things, or well, how he sees, because you see through his eyes, but again, his code of honor, so to speak. And again, I thought they just set all that up really well, so that you could see what his purpose of being here was, and then what they were trying to do. Again, the whole story actually about the main girl, which I can't remember her name in this one, because honestly they didn't use their names a ton. She was the sister, she had her brother, who was, I believe, the new kind of warrior chief after he killed that lion, which was a really, again, a cool scene as well. She was really good for the most part. I think I had a few issues with her just because of her character being kind of excessively whiny and kind of bratty, but I do understand, and I take into account that I believe she's supposed to be probably like a 15, 16-year-old girl, and that would probably be how a girl or boy at that age is going to be, pretty moody and things like that one. But there were a couple things where I was just like, you've caused a lot more problems than you've helped out with in a lot of these things. But maybe, you know, not the biggest thing by any means. Her brother, though, beast. Dude just threw down pretty much every which way he can. His final fight with the Predator was pretty freaking awesome. Again, like I told you before, when they were double teaming the Predator at the end, close to the end, I mean, he was in trouble, in danger of you know, taking the L, and then used his technology, disappeared out of there, and it was just really good. Again, unfortunately, he had to, you know, get got, but overall, I think he had to as well. If you've seen the movie, I mean, everybody had just come after the Predator with everything, and nobody had really had any effect until the brother. And then, but she needed to employ a plan and get away. And it did really work out. Again, even the plan at the end, I bought it. Like I say, I dug it. I liked the bog kind of quicksandy stuff that they were dealing with. Overall, I just really enjoyed the movie. A couple of things, again, that kind of stuck out were the CGI. It got a little heavy-handed with the women can do anything kind of thing, which, again, it's not a bad message, but again, at the end, it was like, okay, only the women were there clapping when she came back with the Predator head, and she had the little moment where the little girl seen her and was like, oh, I can do that too. And it's like, it is important, but you can also not just make it so obvious. But then I also realized, I was like, yeah, well, it probably is only females clapping, because all the males got slaughtered by the Predator already. Kind of because you wanted to go on your own little hunt by yourself to prove that you're a warrior, but that's okay. I mean, she did come back with the Predator stuff, so it was good. And overall, I just really enjoyed the movie, and I will be watching it again and again, probably several times as it's streaming. I'm sure I left some really good stuff out here, but end all be all, again, I think I gave it a 7.5 earlier in the spoiler-free part, and I think that's probably going to stand true, but it might raise a little bit the more I watch it, just because I really, really enjoyed the Predator stuff. Again, the human stuff wasn't bad by any means, just a different setting, which was a really cool idea. So yeah, overall, I'm going to have a hard time putting this one in a ranking and just ranking the Predator movies, again, other than the AVP ones. But I don't know, let me know what you guys think. Have you seen it yet? Check out Hulu, it's on there. And again, a quick watch, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. So let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me also know, where would you like the Predators, the next movie, potentially to take place? Like in time, if you go a little further, where would it be? Would we do a little, pirates? Would we do something like that? Would we maybe go a little, I don't know, go over, deal with some ninjas or some samurai, something like that? We could do all kinds of stuff. And I'd be down for all of it, because Predators are freaking awesome. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace out.